Sofia Coppola, born May 14, 1971, age 54, is the daughter of Francis Ford Coppola and Eleanor Coppola. She was born and grew up in New York City. She grew up starring in her father's films, The Godfather. As she graduated from St. Helena High School in 1990, she began studying at Mills College, then transferred over to the California Institute of Art to focus on painting. She ended up finally at the Art Center College of Design. She then transitioned to filmmaking, starting with 2 shorts before releasing her feature-length film in 1999 titled The Virgin Suicides, then continuing down the filmmaking route. Throughout her career, she had accumulated an Academy Award for her work in the film Lost in Translation, 2 Golden Globe Awards for Best Director and Screenplay for Lost in Translation, a Golden Lion for her directing in Somewhere, as well as the second woman and first American to win a Best Director at Cannes Film Festival. She also had many BAFTA nominations, as well as Primetime Emmy nomination. Coppola's material practice links to her distinctive approach to filmmaking. Her films are best known for their dreamlike atmosphere. Coppola accomplishes all of this through her use of pastel tones, soft lighting, and deliberate pace of each scene, such as an emotional terrain that is created for the viewer. Coppola's visual style reflects her own experiences and memories that she uses to create a sense of nostalgia and vulnerability. The restrained pacing offers the viewer a contemplative, reflective experience which allows them to be fully immersed in the character's emotional journey. A feature of Coppola's film Lost in Translation, this is an example of how the viewer is able to become entranced with the atmosphere of the film and its protagonist. Coppola's conceptual practice is concerned with her examination of female identity, isolation, and the intricate ways in which relationships are formed and navigated between people. She examines femininity and how female characters try to overcome and embrace the turbulent times of adolescence and their identity. Coppola unpacks the complexities of female identity and how this is shaped by what is expected and prescribed by society, as well as the aesthetic of the male gaze. Coppola was heavily influenced by Marie Antoinette in the making of her 2006 Marie Antoinette film. Although it was not entirely historically accurate, the themes of her film involving costumes and set designs were praised by critics. Coppola has had her fair share of criticism on her films. Coppola was severely criticized for a lot of her choices in the making of her 2006 Marie Antoinette, from the casting of Kirsten Dunst and other American actors with American accents for the portrayal of French royalty, and the use of contemporary music against the period backdrop. So perhaps critics wanted a more accurate representation. It's also seen that she is viewed as a Nepo baby in the film world, as her father directed the Godfather franchise, so she immediately had the upper hand in getting ahead in the film world. Due to this, she had been labeled to frequently create films that feature privileged young women who are normally portrayed to be lonely and bored, even with all their wealth. This focus has been a recurring point of discussion, with some critics suggesting it can be a limiting representation of female experiences and a commentary on the struggles of privilege. Sofia Coppola is a 54-year-old American film director born in New York City. She began creating films after failing in her acting career with her first feature film, The Virgin Suicides. She stated she had inspiration from films such as 16 Candles and Lolita. Sofia uses her films and filmmaking as a way to show off her unique perspectives of the world, usually through the lens of the female experience, focusing her films on themes of isolation and social norms. Her films tend to use color techniques such as low tonal colors like blue, blacks, and grays, and whites to express melancholy feelings. Coppola uses crowded areas and cities to show the emotional isolation of the characters in this place. Lost in Translation depicts this perfectly. Busy cities like Tokyo influenced her, as she had previously done photography there in her uni years. The vibrant and overwhelming cityscape of Tokyo is portrayed as a backdrop that amplifies the character's feelings of alienation and culture shock. Static shots to simulate a sense of stillness that shows the emotion of the characters is especially relevant in her film The Virgin Suicides. Coppola has a passion for fashion and carefully customizes her costume designs and set designs to achieve the emotion she is trying to evoke out of the viewers. Coppola's films explore the difficulties and complexities of female identity and experience. She uses her characters to navigate through the issues they find in the world, such as social expectations and the characters' personal desires within their culture. These films focus on the life of women, primarily using a female protagonist, talking about the complications that they face through her filming techniques to build an ethereal atmosphere to better show the emotions within the characters. Coppola's films are directed and filmed to cater to an audience mainly aimed at young women, film enthusiasts, and people interested in the female narrative. Her films are praised for the aesthetic she builds within her films, which builds upon their beauty and the visual storytelling, keeping a mellow and elegant mood in her films. Her films are mainly independent films, leading fans to search for her films on unpopular platforms due to the unpopular appeal of her movies. Sofia Coppola's films touch the audience and create a deep emotional connection that places itself personally in their life. The loneliness of the characters feel nostalgic and longing and invites people to remember when they felt disconnected. The dreamy and well-curated soundscape helps establish the mood and allows you to experience the characters' interior lives. Sofia's distinct style, grounded in her life experience and art aesthetic, creates a style that embraces human feelings and emotionally inflected personal dynamics. Through the structural frame, we are able to analyze Coppola's filmic language to her visual aesthetic and narrative strategies. Her use of composition, lighting, and color palettes makes up her aesthetic treatment of films, in addition to her use of mise-en-scène to create the mood of the films, along with her intended themes of self-reflection. For example, The Virgin Suicides had an ethereal aesthetic that the color palettes reflect through the use of pigments and soft muted colors. The framing of the characters in The Virgin Suicides also isolates the characters and their environments to suggest a distance in their relationships. Coppola's use of guided realism with the elements of surrealism allows her to deploy a contemporary visual vocabulary that conveys both a personal and a universal experience. Coppola's work consistently defies conventional interpretations and mainstream representations, aligning her work with postmodern sensibilities. In Marie Antoinette, for example, she approaches historical figures and events in a contemporary worldview and reframes them from a modern perspective that asks us to consider. By juxtaposing the present context with historical saga, Coppola plays with the irony of contemporary music in historical spaces, causing the audience to reevaluate ideals within a parody of the past. Coppola's approach not only critiques the process of idolizing actual historical figures, but also offers a fresh perspective to think about the absurdities of fame and identity in society, and to consider the deeper cultural truths and resonate beneath the surface. Looking at Coppola's films through the cultural framework, she takes a deep dive into identity, gender, and cultural expectations. With The Virgin Suicides, she examines the struggles of adolescence and the pressures that young women face, and in some sense reflects broader cultural beliefs about femininity and social constraints. The setting of suburban America in the 1970s provides the foundation for a more significant cultural analysis and examination of repression. Coppola's unique view of personal stories and cultural identity allows her work to easily resonate in various contexts, while simultaneously feeling personal and reflective of a larger societal issue. Thus, Coppola's films have influenced my body of work as her techniques and messages on nostalgia and loneliness heavily drive what I strive to portray.